This is a video response to one of the comments left by Dope Boys Oish, and his frustration is it was in regards to the video "Stop Bitching," and his frustration is at work and like basically the ineptitude or the red tape and all the problems that we generally encounter in a work environment. And one of the things that to live in peace, you really got to look out for yourself. And you have to know, you say the serenity prayer to yourself. Lord, give me the strength to change the things I can, um, the ability to accept the things I can't, and the wisdom to know the difference. I might be butchering a little bit, but basically that's it. And there's stages that one should go through when trying to implement change. The first stage is analyzing whether that be change within yourself, change at work, change within your relationships, trying to change other people, trying to change the government, trying to change the world. It seems like it's a never-ending battle that we're not content with the way things are, and we're always trying to change things. And that in itself is a huge cause for suffering because it's a heavy burden to carry. But it's amazing how frequently we embrace this burden or want to carry this luggage. I mean, the easiest thing to do is just to accept things the way they are and just be at peace with that. But I understand many of us can't do that, or it's just not we're not wired that way, or we don't feel like we're a productive member of society unless we're constantly changing things. So for those that are trying to make the world a better place, I think there's stages that one should write down or analyze before going through before carrying this heavy burden or taking on this responsibility. The first one is, what is the cost? In my last video, cost benefit analysis, I think that oftentimes we tend to over exaggerate the benefit without adequately measuring the cost. And everything in life, you pursue A, you give up B. It has there's a cost basically to everything, and it helps to do the cost analysis. So for example, implementing change at work, I oftentimes in the past tried to implement change at work only to kind of beat my head against a brick wall. The first step is I'd say, okay, what is the cost? And they say, okay, well, the cost is I have to do X, Y, and Z, and it's still worth it. The next step is, instead of moaning and bitching about it, which we love to do, human nature, as someone else wrote in a comment, turn those moanings and bitchings into solutions. So, okay, here's the problem, what's the solution? And generally the solution, in my experience, everything starts from the top. It starts from whether it's the CEO or it's the boss, the manager, but it starts at the top. So going to the source and expressing in a kind, non-threatening or non-aggressive way some suggestions to implement change. So I did that. I went to the boss. I made suggestions, and actually it was well received. The suggestions were, oh yes, you're right. We need to do this. We need to do that. That's a good idea, and it's something I'll work on, only to find out that none of the suggestions that I made were implemented correctly or were implemented at all. And a lot of things sound good in theory, but actually making the effort to complete it or to see it to fruition that's a whole nother thing. When we're thinking about changing other things, changing the world as it is, it's really important to remember the mediocrity principle, that basically people will rise to the level of their accountability. So if their accountability is this low, that's the level that they'll perform in their job. If generally, not always, but generally, if their accountability is this high, that's the level that they'll strive to meet in their job performance. And this is why governments don't work and will never work. I'm always amazed that people say, oh, we need to change the government. We need to make a new government. Government will never work. Government will always be broken. And I challenge people to give me examples where governments were efficiently run with minimum waste. The people had wide-ranging support of the people. There might be periods that was true, but overall, long-term government is always doomed to fail, with waste and inefficiency, ineptitude, and just not really meeting the needs of the people. Because in government, you are going to, the mediocrity principle applies. You're going to rise the level to your accountability. And the whole, especially in the United States, the whole infrastructure of the voting system is rigged or geared to those that have the support of big business. So that's your true accountability partner or motivation, if you so to speak. So it's not the voter. It's the voter. It's, the voter is a byproduct. Then the main thing is to get money, so you can convince the voter through 30-second snippet commercials that what you're doing a good job or that you should be elected. So at work, when I tried to implement this change, the change didn't happen. So now I go to stage 3. I say, okay, what can I do? I can either find a new job, accept things the way they are, or moan and bitch. And what most people resolve themselves to or resign themselves to is moaning and bitching. Things don't change. I'm so unhappy. And I think that's when they have the most self-inflicted suffering, is because they can't take it to the next step of acceptance. And that goes in many areas. There's things I've tried to change about myself, and I go through the steps. What is the price? What things do I need to do to make the change? And try to implement the change. And for one reason or another, I'm not able to change certain aspects of myself. And what most people do, we get stuck in this stage of beating ourselves up and saying, oh, I can't believe I can't change. I need to do this. I need to do that, but I can never. If you want to be at peace, just accept it, man. That's part of being human. There's good things about us. There's bad things about us. There's good things about a work environment. There's bad things about work environment. And just basically surrendering and accepting the way things are. That is the way to just it's like you have all these burdens or boulders that you're carrying around, these heavy rocks, and that's just like, you know what, I release it all. And then also it's taking some self-responsibility and saying, I can only control myself, change. If I don't like things at work, how can I be a better employee, or how can I improve my performance, or how can I enjoy my job given the current structure that it's at. But man, please, for the sake of your own inner peace, give up the moaning and bitching and whining and complaining about the way things are. And if you've tried changing it and it didn't come to fruition, just accept it and let it go. We love to hang on to things. The world is a mess. The world is chaos. The world is complete and total imperfection. And the sooner we can realize it and accept it, is the sooner that we're on the path to just tranquility, peacefulness, serenity. Because really the problem doesn't lie with the world and the state it's in, or other people, or your job, or your boss, or the government. Really, if you want to find the real solution, it's always within. Thanks for listening.